So guys, we're working on the crawler again. I got these in the mail this week while I was at work. I figured I like the way these green desert lizards look. I like 2 or 3 different listings had them, and like a different shade, but I liked the green. I'm like, hey, let's do something different. And then so I ordered these up. We got them in the mail. We're working on. Oh, hold up. Sorry. Make sure you know which one we're on. These are for this. This is the comp rig. I've got it set up the way it sets up with the battery and everything, and I've been testing it, figuring out what shocks I want, considering that's what we took off. We took 4 of those off. And these have been getting on my nerves because I've already lost that end off 2 of them while out crawling. Luckily, I was able to find the parts. Well, the one I didn't, but I already had a set of these, and this came with a set of these. Long story short, getting rid of those, we're going to the desert lizards. Because, you know, they don't leak, they're adjustable, they're easy to build, they're tunable, and they work. It kind of sucks that you've got to do this to rebuild them. You got to do this to fill them. So that's what we're doing. Now, if you've been paying attention, you've probably noticed that these are not the same. So we have front, we have rear. I'm using a medium hard spring because this front end has got all the brass on it. It's got the servo mounted axle, or axle mounted servo. So I wanted to make sure that when this sits like this, it's got something that'll take that weight. And because this thing weighs like 3 pounds, 4 pounds, I went with a long skinny in it. So the back, we got the long skinny on this because the rear end of this thing has like next to nothing in weight unless there's tires. And then I stuck the medium soft, which starts out, I think it starts out, you get the medium on top and you get the short medium, or no, this is a soft. So we have the long soft and the medium soft in the back, and we're running it like that. So that's just to keep it elevated, that's just to help it rebound. Now I have toyed with the ideal and even talked about it on the lives about using a blunt tip needle. It's glass, so it handles the oil for filling these. But as Mr. C has said, since I sent him one of these, it's not big enough to really be worth it. So we're not going to do that. Now, these do come in a bigger, I think these come in like I can get these up to like a 5 or a 6 milliliter. This is a 1 milliliter syringe, and I hold on to it because, you know, you buy something, you hold on to it. But it's nifty. Comes in this nice little tube. If you're interested, that's the brand. If I remember, I will add something to the description. We're going to use 40 weight. I want to say Mr. C uses a lot of 40 weight with the lizards. Hey, I always forget that it has this plug. Now, the other thing, these are the factory set pistons, so they're the 4-hole. I've not fiddled with any of that stuff. Like it's a little above my pay grade for knowing what I'm doing. So I'm just gonna go like this. think I'm going to fill this up till about the bottom of the threads. And then we're going to see how much it looks like. The bottom of the threads is about I do have the instructions. Choose what is the radius of the structure. Sorry if there's any background noise. Well, I've gotten these all filled and they're all about dialed in where I want them. And then I realized, hey, I gotta be able to tell these apart. So I took some Gundam model paint pens. I've just put some white on that inside crevice there. It's not there because they're not exactly the easiest to tell once they're built. But the gist of it is that you gotta fill them up just below the threads, which seems to be the common conclusion with everybody that are building these. And then you screw it down about halfway, and then kind of pump it to make sure you get the air out. But the trick is with these is that you've got to hold it down as you're screwing in the cap, which is the pain in the butt part. But this method with the whole screwed in cap and you're holding it down, oh there we go, we got some oil, is also why these are some of the best shocks from what everybody says and some of my own experience, because you build them right, you do your methods to bleed it, and these things hold oil forever and ever. Looks like we got some more oil out of there. I think I'm gonna go through and probably redo the actual tops of these. See, there's the issue. You hit like a hydro lock right there because you tighten it all the way down. Now if I loosen this, I know, I think I got it. They still got the nub before they cut them out of the parch tree. When you're building them droop, you gotta remember to pull them up as well as push them down to get all that air out. I think that's about it. I swear it is not a skill to build shocks. It is an art form. I think that's part of the issue as well. So there's two front shocks. I'm gonna call those done. You would not believe how long it took me to realize what the holes were for and the little notch on this. I think I had it for like a year before I was like, oh, that a whole shock. Yeah, I felt pretty stupid. Where everybody at? The center will hold them too. If I can hang it, then I'll know, hey, those two are done. Let's sit through Dr. Second. I got a micro winch, or a low profile servo winch. Got a low profile servo winch, and I think I'm gonna take this. Try to do too many things at once, but hey, I already started. And I'm gonna mount it like laying like this, like back here. You can see that. And then run it up around all this to the front. Mount it to the back, I think that. Or the plate I'm ordering would let me put it up here, but with all the travel I have with this axle mounted servo, I don't want to put it there. Though, Yeah. Move the batteries back in. Like if this styrene stuff was thicker, just mount it there next to that, but no. It's gonna mount it back here. Run it to the front. It's gonna take more wire to do that, but I think it might end up sitting like that. I want it to sit like this though. Run it to the front. No, I don't have to go to this side. There's no telling. I may not put it on here after all, but I've had this Dyno RC line that I won in a raffle forever, and I was like, you know what? I need to get a servo, if nothing else, just to see how it works. And for 20 bucks, can't really beat that. Little Endura. There it is. Comes with all the stuff to like a regular servo. But I'm gonna pause this here, throw something on to watch while I fiddle back and forth with these oils, the oil in this shock, because it truly is just being a royal pain in the butt. Alright, so I'm gonna call the shocks done. We're gonna throw them on real fast. Rear shocks. This is the only thing I don't like. I don't know if you can see it's how that's different than that end, because it's got to hold that. This is the only part I don't like about Desert Lizards. Like, I wish they had something that would hold the little pivot ball in place. It would make life so much easier, but hey, you can't have everything. God knows this. Yeah. There are a few choice tools that I wish I had to make this job so much easier. A electric screwdriver, because this isn't a drill, electric screwdriver that had a clutch, so that when I got these snug, it wouldn't let me strip them. But I found out after I bought it that it was not a clutched driver. But I had already bought it, and I got everything else Ryobi because, well, I'm a Ryobi ho. I got into them back before I started driving, because all the YouTubers I was watching that did car stuff were they were using Ryobi. It's a good, cheap, well, not cheap, but cheaper brand for car DIY. Alright, so here's the fun part. Since I'm wanting to hold on to this set of zip ties, I'm going to do the old peel it back save it. So we're going to do the same to the front. Now I have been thinking, do I want to run these the same way, or do I want to flip them? Because on the Spider, I run them flipped, but I have to run them flipped on the Spider because the clearance for the axle doesn't have enough room for the big, large reservoir container area. And I don't know if many of you can tell from watching my videos about my crawlers, but I am not the original designer and builder of this one. I actually got this one in a trade about a year ago. I had a UTV-18, which the long story about that is that was coming out just as I was looking at buying my first or my second crawler, because at the time I had the TRX4, which is over there on the floor, and he's gonna get a fusion maybe tonight. I might go ahead and do that and get 2 little short videos out for this week. And I was like, oh, that looks cool. I like the cage. I like how it looks kind of like a rock bouncer. Well, when I first went to get one, they were out of stock at the local hobby shop I was going to, which for me was Nashville. But they had like 2 or 3 ECX Temper Gen 2s. And I was like, you know what, that looks about the same. It's kind of similar. I like the buggy look. Yes, I realized that I should have grabbed the drill. Plenty up travel. It still has down travel for shift. Now, put some tires back on this. Where was I? Oh yeah, the temper. And I was like, you know what? I want to build something that's super flexible and capable of like doing all kinds of crazy articulation. So I took the temper and was like, you know what? I've got this here. It looks like it kind of has the chassis set up so that I can do like super flexible articulation. And I'd already had the Sport, so I knew TRX 4 axles. I know what they look like. I know how they ran. I know that they were good. They were good crawler axles. I found a set of those after a couple weeks of looking. And there they go. A little bit of a droop stance going. Yeah, it's back to the same. Oh yeah, had the temper. It has to run them inverted because of clearance issues. That's it. I think we're gonna call that it. I'm gonna run around the floor a little, just do some fine tunes and tweaks. But yeah.